Are you one of those people who overthinks every choice? The ones who stare at a decision for hours, but still don't know what to do? The ones who feel paralyzed by options? The ones who never act because they're too busy analyzing? Carl Jung warned us about this. He saw it as a trap, he said. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But here's the twist. Overthinking isn't a sign of intelligence. It's a sign of being stuck. In this episode, we're going to break down why overthinking makes you feel lost, and how you can finally free yourself from this mental prison. Welcome back to Dopamine Clinic, where we don't just talk about surface-level motivation. We dive deep into dark psychology, self-mastery, and the polymath mindset, so you can thrive in a world full of distractions. In today's episode, we're diving into a trap that smart people fall into every day: overthinking. Overthinking can feel like a double-edged sword. It makes you feel like you're being thoughtful and intelligent, but in reality, it's stopping you from acting. It's time to stop feeling lost in your own mind and start living with purpose. If you're tired of being paralyzed by analysis, then this video is for you. Overthinking is a paradox. The more you think, the less you know. Think about it. The smarter you are, the more choices you see. The more you see, the more you doubt. Every path seems like a potential mistake. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, was well aware of this. He said, "The problem is not the existence of choice, but the paralysis of choice." Overthinking doesn't help you find the right answer. It just keeps you spinning in circles, drowning in options. And the real tragedy: the more you overthink, the less you experience. Experience is the antidote to overthinking, but the more you hesitate, the less you engage with the world around you. And that's where the real danger lies. Overthinking, at its core, is a result of trying to control your life to the point of paralysis. The more we try to predict every possible outcome, the more likely we are to get stuck in the what-ifs. But by constantly focusing on what could go wrong, you never focus on what could go right. The answer isn't more thinking, the answer is action. And yet, ironically, the smarter you are, the harder it becomes to take action. Why? Because you see too many options. You begin questioning everything. You see so many possibilities, but each one comes with its own set of fears and doubts. The choices don't seem obvious anymore. It's as though the more you know, the more you become paralyzed by that knowledge. So, why do we overthink in the first place? The answer is simpler than you think: fear. It's fear that keeps you in the loop of overthinking. Fear of making the wrong choice. Fear of missing out on a better opportunity. Fear of regret. This fear doesn't just hold us back. It feeds our need for certainty. Human beings crave certainty. It's part of our survival instinct. We need to feel that we have control over our environment. But here's the problem: life is full of uncertainty. And the more you try to control everything with your thoughts, the more paralyzed you become. Think of a time when you felt overwhelmed by a decision. Perhaps it was a career move, a relationship choice, or something as simple as where to go for a vacation. In those moments, did you feel the weight of the possibilities? The more you think about all the different outcomes, the more you try to predict the future, and the more stuck you become. Imagine standing at a crossroad. You see multiple paths ahead of you. Each path seems to lead to something uncertain. You want to make the right choice, but every choice feels like it could end in failure. The uncertainty of the outcome paralyzes you. You don't know if you'll succeed or fail, and this uncertainty breeds fear. This is where overthinking thrives, in the uncertainty and fear of making the wrong choice. Jung believed that overthinking and fear are tied together by our shadow, the unconscious parts of ourselves that we try to hide or avoid. The more we avoid these parts of ourselves, the more we let fear control us. The more fear controls us, the harder it becomes to take action. Overthinking, in essence, is our mind's way of protecting us from the unknown. But in doing so, it keeps us stuck in place. So, Why does overthinking feel like control? It feels like if you analyze enough, if you think about every possibility, you will have complete control over the outcome. In reality, overthinking is just the opposite. It's the illusion of control. When you try to control everything through thinking, you're actually preventing yourself from acting. Overthinking gives you the illusion that you can predict every future outcome. But in reality, no one can control the future. The more you think about your choices, the more you realize you have no idea what will happen next. And here's the real irony. The more you try to control, the less control you actually have. Think about it. The smartest people in history, from Da Vinci to Einstein, didn't wait for perfect answers before taking action. They didn't analyze endlessly before making a decision. They acted, and that action created momentum. Momentum leads to growth. Growth leads to success. Control is a myth. The key to success isn't in controlling the future through thought. It's in acting despite the uncertainty. This is where the most successful people succeed. They stop thinking and start doing. They trust the process, even when they don't have all the answers. When you act without waiting for the perfect plan, you stop overthinking. You break the cycle of fear, and you start to move forward. There's real neuroscience behind overthinking. When you overthink, your brain enters a state of cognitive overload. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, gets overwhelmed. Instead of making quick, decisive judgments, your brain gets trapped in a loop. The more you think, the more stressed you feel. And the more stress you feel, the harder it is to make a decision. It's a vicious cycle. When you experience cognitive overload, your brain shuts down. The more you try to think your way out of the problem, the less capable your brain becomes of making good decisions. Your brain begins to rely on automatic responses rather than clear thinking. So, how do you break free from this cycle? Action. Action breaks the loop. Action helps your brain release the tension that comes with overthinking. When you act, you allow your brain to process information more efficiently and effectively. By taking the first step, you free your mind from the paralyzing cycle of analysis. Now that we understand why overthinking occurs, how do we overcome it? The first step is to reduce the pressure on yourself. Overthinking often stems from trying to make the perfect decision. You want everything to be flawless, but this constant striving for perfection only creates more stress. The truth is, perfection doesn't exist, and trying to chase it is a surefire way to trap yourself in the overthinking loop. So, let's begin with the 5-minute rule. This rule says, commit to making a decision within 5 minutes of encountering the problem. You'll be amazed at how this tiny change can break the cycle of indecision. Here's how it works. Identify the issue you're facing. Limit your thinking to 5 minutes. Don't overanalyze. Just take in the information and ask yourself, what's the most logical next step? Act immediately. Take that step without waiting for all the details to fall into place. By forcing yourself to make decisions quickly, you avoid getting stuck in the weeds of endless possibilities. This reduced decision-making time helps you get out of your head and into action. It's a small step, but it's the key to breaking the paralysis caused by overthinking. Another crucial step in overcoming overthinking is to let go of perfection. Perfectionism is a dangerous mindset. It makes you believe that unless everything is ideal, you shouldn't act at all. But perfection is a myth. There's no such thing as perfect. Perfectionism keeps you stuck. It leads to procrastination. You keep putting off decisions, waiting for the perfect moment, which, as we all know, never comes. So, here's a powerful mindset shift. Embrace imperfection. The truth is, success doesn't come from waiting for everything to be perfect. It comes from learning through the process. The more you act, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. And with time, you get closer to your goals. Failure is part of the process, not something to be feared. In fact, failure is the best teacher. The more you fail, The more you learn about what works and what doesn't. Every successful person, whether in business or life, has faced failure. The difference is that they didn't let failure stop them. They didn't let their fear of imperfection hold them back. So, instead of waiting for the perfect plan, take action. Accept that the first step doesn't need to be perfect. The journey is what matters. Overcoming overthinking isn't about making giant leaps all at once. It's about small steps. The more you delay taking action, the more time you waste trapped in your own head. And the more time you waste, the harder it becomes to get started. So, start small. Break your goals into tiny, manageable tasks. Think about it. Want to write a book? Start by writing a single paragraph every day. Want to get in shape? Start by committing to 10 minutes of exercise every day. When you take small steps, the pressure of the task at hand seems less daunting. Small actions build momentum. They lead to bigger actions. And before you know it, you've made significant progress toward your goal. Overthinking keeps you stuck. Action gets you moving. So, no matter how small the step may seem, take it. The key is to start. One of the most powerful tools in overcoming overthinking is trusting yourself. We all have an internal compass, a gut feeling that guides us. The more you overthink, the more you ignore that inner voice. You start second-guessing yourself, questioning your judgment, and doubting your abilities. Trust is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. So, how do you trust yourself when you've been doubting yourself for so long? The answer is simple. Start small. Begin by trusting your decisions on small, everyday choices. What should you eat for lunch? Trust your first instinct. Should you go for a walk or take a nap? Trust your gut. These small moments will start to build confidence in your ability to make decisions. As you get more comfortable with trusting yourself in small decisions, you'll start to trust yourself with bigger ones. This doesn't mean you'll never experience doubt. What it means is that you'll learn to act despite the doubt. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Trusting yourself is about choosing who you want to be. It's about believing in your own judgment and taking action on it. So, don't wait for all the answers. Trust that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. Your instincts are there to guide you. One last thing to consider when you're overcoming overthinking is that imperfection is a necessary part of growth. It's easy to feel like you need everything to be perfect before you act, but that's simply not true. Every successful person you admire has faced moments of doubt, confusion, and imperfection. What separates them from the rest is their willingness to embrace the journey with all its bumps and bruises. So, the next time you're facing a decision, remember this: you don't need all the answers. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to take that first step. Overcoming overthinking doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. But with each step you take, you'll build confidence, gain clarity, and ultimately start living the life you've been imagining. Trust that you are enough, imperfections and all. Don't wait for perfection. Start where you are, and let progress be your guide. If this episode resonated with you, it's time to stop overthinking and start acting. Subscribe to Dopamine Clinic for more insights into dark psychology, self-mastery, and overcoming the mental traps that hold you back. Don't let fear and overthinking control your life. Start trusting yourself and taking action today. Start becoming who you always meant to be. As Carl Jung said, overthinking holds you back. Take action now.